it's Just a Dad. Today I'm going to do the first look, show you how to set up for the first time in the first cleaning with the brand new Narwal Flow 2. Now I did buy this robot vacuum cleaner with my own money. I'm not paid for this video. Right now it's retailing for $1,500. This would make it one of the most expensive robots to buy. And in this video I'm going to show you how to set it up. We're going to put it together. I'm going to talk about the specs. We'll show how it cleans for the first time. But I'm going to go and use it at my home for 3 months to give it my 3-month real world test before I give it my Just a Dad approved sticker. If it doesn't pass my testing after 3 months, it will not receive the Just a Dad approved sticker. If you want to find all the robots that have already received it, like the Mova P10 Pro, the Mova V50, the Roborock Curve, and the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. I do use links. If you purchase a product using a link off my website or in this video, the product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. I am an Amazon influencer. I will be comparing this to the original Narwal Flow, which did not receive my Just a Dad approved sticker. I've got the new Dyson Spot and Scrub, Dreamy, Roborock Saros 20. I'll be comparing to all of these. And again, I got my spec sheet here. These are the specs that are important to me. 31,000 pascals of suction. It doesn't have the mop roller has side reach, but the brush here doesn't have side reach, but it says it spins it backwards. We'll see if that actually works. 12 newtons of downward pressure. It says it has unlimited obstacle avoidance. We'll check that out. Threshold 1.57. It's only 3.74 inches tall. Pressurized vacuuming, warm water mopping. Supports 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. Hot water, hot air, solution tank, tray removal. So you can always find all my important specs about robots on my website, justadadapproved.com. So here's everything that comes in the box. We get the robot vacuum cleaner. We get an extra dustbin filter, a side brush. We do get some cleaning solution, a power cord, and an extra dust bag. Now here's the robot vacuum cleaner. This robot can vacuum and mop your floors at the same time. It does have a carpet sensor, so it can raise and lower the mop pad. We're going to install the side brush. We got some sensors here so it doesn't fall down your stairs. Here's the docking station. We've got a dirty water tank and a clean water tank. Now underneath these tanks is where the dust bag is. Now typically I don't like when they do this. I think the dust bag should be kind of a front access because water sometimes gets down here, but we'll see. There's the dust bag. You're simply going to pull it out. They have gone to a onboard solution tank. So this is a reusable solution tank. You're just going to put the Narwal solution, which they do give you some. You're going to fill that up right there. And then you keep this. And then it just gets installed right there. Had it backwards. So line up the port. Now you do have to push it down and click it into place, because it's got to get past. That way it's nice and flush. Around back, you're going to plug the power cord in. It's 5 feet long, 3-prong. Plug it into 120 volts, 127, 50 to 60 hertz. Whenever it's drying, 1100 watts. Let's take a closer look at the tanks. So here is the clean water tank. Now it does come with this beads. I think that's for like helping to clean. They don't say a whole lot about that, but that doesn't need to be replaced after about 3 years. There's a filter at the bottom of the water intake line. Here's the dirty water tank. Looks like there is something you can clip into the bottom of the dirty water tank to help with odor. So there is no front access to anything. Here's what the bottom of the robot looks like. It looks like the port. This is what auto empties the dustbin. We can take that off if it clogs, and it's got lots of curves in it, so that might have some potential. This is a little odd to me. The water line, this is where it sucks the dirty water up into the dirty water tank. This is all exposed. Normally I would like to see probably a cover. Maybe I could remove the cover, but we'll have to be careful handling this. That's all pretty delicate stuff right there, so you don't want to damage that. Okay, so here's the base station. Looks like they've upgraded the charging points. Those are 2 pretty heavy duty points. This is where it's going to fill the robot up with water. It does say it fills it up with warm water. Here's where it's going to blow warm air onto the mop roller to dry it. Looks like they are kind of using the docking station to help wash the mop roller. I'm not sure how that's going to work. I do like this. This is removable. This is You are going to have to clean this once in a while. This is like just a big filter. So all the dirty water is going to go to here and then get sucked out down there. Here's kind of a close-up. We do have this ramp. Make sure you install the ramp. The docking station, 17.5 inches or 45 centimeters. Left to right, looks like you're looking at 14.25 or 36 centimeters. Height-wise, you do have to be able to pull the tanks up. So you need about almost 29 inches or 74 centimeters above it so you can get the water tanks out. Okay, the robot itself, 13, almost 14 inches, well, 13.75 or 35 centimeters. So how tall the robot is 3 7/8 or 9.7 centimeters. Okay, let's take a look at the robot. It does have a camera on the front, and this is called Twin AI. So it says it has unlimited obstacle avoidance. We'll see about that. It does have a camera on the front. It's got the typical bumper on the front. If it bumps into something, it'll turn around. Sensor on the side. Now it does have spinning LiDAR, but it's around the back. So that does spin, and the LiDAR is going to come out the side. Charging points. This is where it fills the robot up with warm water. There's a wheel. Let's take the front. Just pick this up. That's where the dustbin is. Looks like a new type of dustbin. You can clean it. You got to open it up like this. But this is gonna vacuum and then auto empty out the bottom. You will have to replace this filter once in a while, and you will have to clean it once in a while. I'm glad that they give us instructions. It's washable. Here's what that looks like. That goes in there real well. Put these front feet in first. I do like that there's physical buttons up here. There's a power button, a home button. You can start and stop it with this, or tell it to go back to the dock. On the bottom, we're going to put the side brush on. So there are 2 ports. You got two different sizes. You got to line them up. Make sure it snaps on like that. This is a mop roller. You're going to press this button right here. You are going to have to clean this. Press both these buttons. Rotate this. Lift this side up. And then this comes off. So you'll have to replace this once in a while. It's relatively simple. There's a scraper in here. There's where the water comes out. So this is where the water comes out to clean the mop roller. And then this is the scraper. That's going to scrape everything off and send it to the dirty water tank. Now we can take this off, the scraper off. This will need to be cleaned once in a while. I want to pay close attention here. This is where the water gets sucked up into the dirty water tank. There's an area of concern. I don't know if it's valid yet or not, but that looks kind of kinked, the hose that connects to it. Now, I don't necessarily think it's kinked. Maybe it just makes a really hard 90-degree turn, but it does sort of makes it kind of smaller when it turns that hard. And maybe it's just designed to do that. But that's a pretty important part, to suck the water off the dirty water off the scraper into the dirty water tank. There's kind of a close-up of it. Yeah, again, I think it's molded that way. It just looks so like a sharp turn that, you know, if there's any kind of heavy debris or something like a big chunk, it could get clogged right there. And I don't really see a way to unclog that. I've tried to and that tube is a little fragile. I've kind of touched it. Maybe it might come out of there. So I'm definitely going to have to keep my eye on this. Okay, let's put the mop roller back on. This has a square. You're going to put that square in first. Again, you have to take this off once in a while. And then this port should go in over here. Push that in. Now rotate it down. And both of these should click into place. This does have pressurized cleaning. This little front gate is going to come down when it's vacuuming carpet to create a pressure chamber. It does have a floating brush roller design, so the long hairs are not going to wrap around this. This actually works really good. The long hairs are going to be directed down to here, and since there's not a pivot point here, they just get sucked into the dustbin. This actually works really good for long hair management. You take it out, you got to clean it once in a while. And here is that pressurized chamber. That gets pushed down to create a sealed chamber over carpet. These wheels, I've got slots in them to help it go over tall thresholds. Can only do 1.57 inch threshold. Again, this is supposed to get into a corner. It turns it backwards. These are the cliff sensors, so it doesn't fall down your stairs. That's the carpet sensor. Here's the original Narwal flow, and I never noticed that. That's the same design as the original Narwal flow. Now you can see that is really dirty. So apparently this design does work okay. It just seems a little like a weak point. And they've got this button's hidden. There's a button on the left side that like unclogs that. Again, they don't explain that. Again, they have the button over here. I don't know what it does. If you know what it does, tell me in the description. Okay, I've got the clean water tank filled up with clean water. Here's the reusable solution tank. Here is the sample solution that comes with it. I do like that it's this isn't a proprietary solution bottle I gotta buy every time. I can buy this in bulk, hopefully, and then just fill this up. I'll test it, see if I put Shark Vac Mop solution here later. Again, here's the dirty water tank. Looks like we can clip something in there, but they don't tell us what, and they don't really tell us what that is for. But here's my cleaning hack. Every time you empty your dirty water tank, put an Effordent tablet in there. That prevents odor. I've got a link on my website, justadadapproved.com, for everything you're seeing here. The solutions, the cleaning solutions, the cleaning brush. You'll have to clean this dirty water tank out quite a bit, actually. They start to stink. Okay, let's put this in. Make sure you click it in. Again, I'm not a fan of this design because typically when I'm dealing with water tanks and stuff, there tends to be water that gets underneath these tanks. So typically when you're clean water tank, sometimes you'll spill it and it gets down underneath there. Okay, let's press the power button and turn the robot on. For about 7-8 seconds, you should see this light, this ring light come on. It didn't. I can put it in the dock. That will also turn it on. Huh. Okay, I've got the base station plugged in. I couldn't get the robot to come on. Let's just dock it. Typically that does turn it on. There. Now it's turned on. Okay, it's going to play a tune. Narwal. Okay, so here's how you set it up and connect it to your Wi-Fi. You have to get the Narwal app. It's free to use, but you got to create a username and password. Click the little plus button up here. Select your device. It is scanning. I'm not sure which one it's seen, but I'm just going to connect Flow 2. I did turn it on. There's my Wi-Fi. Give it your Wi-Fi password. It does say it uses 5 gigahertz. This is a rarity with robot vacuum cleaners. Most of them work on 2.4 gigahertz only. This works on both. So now it's scanning. I've got the robot docked and powered on already. This does have to be relatively close to the robot.
Network connecting. Please wait.
Okay, looks like it connected. You have to agree. No, I don't want to join. So I think it might be updating or something, but we definitely want to do an update if an update is available. So this thing's just spinning right now. I didn't do anything other than just hit agree. Now we can go right into quick mapping. I'm going to check for an update just because this thing isn't, narwhals have been notorious for having problems out of the gate. So let's device. It's right here in front of me. Check for updates. Okay, wow. No updates, but I do have that on automatically. Okay, so we're good. So hopefully, yeah, you should get a quick mapping button. I just exited out. Oh, so now there is an update. Okay, so I could postpone. It says not recommended, so all I did was exit out and go back into the Narwal app because I was wanting that pop-up to show for mapping, and then this is what happened. It says there is an update available. So okay, so it says it's updating. I'll let you know. So that update took a long time, it felt like, probably about 10 minutes. But I do think it's worth doing. It's just unfortunate it takes so long. So now it's ready for quick mapping. Are there any, so this is kind of a critical thing. Are there any stairs in your house? I do have stairs, so I got to put yes. Most robots don't ask this question. The cliff sensors work.
Mapping started. Please put away obstacles on
So open up your doors, kind of put everything away,
to be clean.
and then this should create a map in real time. This is the best part of LiDAR navigation. It's just going to randomly go around your house. It's not going to clean. And there goes the map. Now, it doesn't look like you can add a threshold or add a no-go zone. We'll have to wait till the map is done. Okay, so that didn't take super long. It is recommended to, they call it sweep before drag. I mean, it's recommended to do a complete vacuuming of your home first. Like do a vacuum of your entire home. It'll help identify where all the carpet is. But let's go through and edit the map. Click here. Map management, nope. Yeah, click map management, map editing. So let's split the room. This one right here. Now that line has to be solid or it won't split it. And unfortunately, it didn't get this wall. So this wall actually extends to here. They show it cutting off right here, which that means I can't put... Narwal maps have always been just a little hard to use. What I mean by that, they're not as, you can't detail them as good. So now I got to split this room somewhere I don't want to. Yeah, and splits can't go through, like there's a desk here. So the split can't go through an obstacle. So you can merge different rooms together. Let's name them. Naming the rooms is pretty important. I would use the recommended names that they have. It cleans the room differently if you name it according to like bathroom, kitchen, but you can put custom. Furniture, I don't add. Floor material, now this is important. So this one, you pick the direction. You can pick wood floor, tile, all these other ones. That's how hard it pushes the mop roller down. I'm going to pick wood floor, but I'm going to rotate the direction of it so that my wood floor goes this way. So now it'll show up in the map going that way. It'll clean in the direction of the floor. Carpet, now this is a setting I have it clean your house a few times before you edit the carpet. No-go zones. You can add these later, but I know there's an area over here where it's going to struggle with the computer cables on the ground. No vacuuming, no mopping, or no vacuuming and mopping. So I'm going to hit add. Room character. So you can give it a high soil. It'll do intensive cleaning, or a low noise area. So let's call this room a low noise area. I kind of like that setting. That's the first time I've seen that type of setting. Edit layout. So maybe I can, no, I can't move. I can't move that wall. Enhanced obstacles. So that's thresholds. So you can add a threshold. Back under map editing, go to cleaning order, you can pick which rooms, whenever it does a whole home clean, you can move these rooms accordingly. I wanted to do the corner test first, and so when it cleans your entire room or house, that's the order it'll go in. I like that. Okay, let's give some recommended settings. Let's go to settings. Device, you can do the area, unit, square feet. I like that. Sharing, locate, restart, unbinding, privacy. Firmware update, I definitely recommend having the auto update on. Free Mind, it's on. Intensive cleaning for large dirty area, vacuum suction powers, smart. Whenever it's in Free Mind, which is kind of like the smart mode, these you can pick what setting it uses. Either smart, quiet, strong, mopping, humidity, coverage, precision. I'll leave that all in smart. Clean. How often do you want it to wash the mop? The default is every 250 square feet. You can do intelligent or just pick a default. Intensive corner cleaning, carpet cleaning, priority cleaning for carpet. That means it's going to clean the carpet first. That way the mop roller is not wet. Intensive carpet cleaning. Those are all on. General. Do not. I would put do not disturb on. There is a high altitude mode. Auto power off. Dock. Auto filling of solution. Cleaning solution. Auto dust bin bacteria control. It's going to blow air inside the dust bag. Dust bag health index. Mop drying intensity. Silent, strong, or smart. Base station light effects. Smart temperature controlled mopping system. Auto dust emptying, smart. I want every time. I want that emptied as much as possible. Dust emptying mode, I want strong. You can drain, dock-based drainage and robot drainage. Pet friendly mode. I'm going to leave that off for now. Map management, manage accessories. This is when it tells you it's time to replace. The dust bag is every 90 hours and then you reset the timer. So that's kind of nice. The voice assistant, AI, smart object recognition, smart. So I would leave those on. Help center, third party control. It does have matter right there. Experimental functions, I've never got that to work. So, okay, here we're back at the main page. Now again, you can select the rooms you want to order, vacuum or mop. Let's go to vacuum and mop. Let's click the three dots. We're in Frio. We can do vacuum, then mop in Frio. We can do vacuum only in Frio, mop only in Frio, or room customization. So let's go back to vacuum and mop, or we can just do a custom. We can do 3 cleaning cycle, 3 vacuum and moppings, vacuum suction power, quiet, strong, or super powerful. Mopping humidity, looks just like 3 levels. There's not like a slider. Coverage, standard or meticulous. And then here you have the buttons here for vacuum and mop. Again, you can select what you want. You can do a customization mop. You can do a zone. Pick a zone. You can add another zone. Expand it. It'll clean that zone. Then that whichever one you added first. Now here's a very important setting that I've found very confusing with narwhals. So after it cleans your entire home, it's going to start identifying where all the carpet is. And its default setting, which for some reason is not what I want, it doesn't give, so you would think it'd be in the settings. So whenever it identifies carpet, click the carpet in the map set. You're in the map. There's a button here now, cross the carpet without cleaning. That's the default setting. And this thing is going to drive you nuts because it's not going to clean your carpets. So we got to go to carpet settings. Please select the carpet to set. So we want to select the carpet. And I want to clean the carpet. I want it to lift the mop roller and clean the carpet. The default is cross without cleaning. That's just going to drive you nuts. And every time it identifies carpet. Now, you can add with default settings. See, we got to change that. Clean carpet. I want it to vacuum. Now go back here, save and exit. This is all confusing to me, even to me. So now let's pick this carpet here. See, and then see so it identified that earlier and it added the default setting to it. So this is super confusing. So pick this carpet now and put clean and put save. So now when it identifies carpet, it should add the default setting, but it doesn't always do that. Sometimes you got to go back in. So if it's not cleaning your carpet, you got to go in and select the carpets. See, that says clean now. That says clean. So good. This robot vacuum cleaner can vacuum and mop your floors at the same time. Now, I did purchase the Narwhal Flow 2 with my own money. I wasn't paid for this video, and so I've got to use the Narwhal Flow for 3 months before I give it my Just a Dad sticker seal of approval. If you want to find all the robots that already have my sticker seal of approval, like the Mova P10 Pro, Mova V50, the Roborock Curve, and the Saros 10, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. If you purchase a product using my link, I am an Amazon affiliate. The product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. This is home of the honest review. I buy and purchase these robot vacuum cleaners with my own money. That way I can give you my honest opinion. So again, what you're going to see in this video, this is the first mopping. Again, I've got to use it for a while before I give it my final score. Now for this test, I'll be using vacuum and mop. I'm not going to use the Frio Mind. That's going to be for the advertising versus reality. So we're going to go to custom, 2 vacuum and mopping cycles. I want strong suction, mopping humidity, standard, and a standard cleaning pattern. Then we're going to hit start. So the reason I'm not using the Frio is I want to test I just want to test it without all of its artificial intelligence activated. Now, because of that front sensor on the front, if it sees particles, it's going to do something different. That's going to be in the advertising versus reality video. And I'll check the hot water mopping. I just want to see its standard cleaning performance on 1 or 2 passes. I don't want to have to rely on that artificial intelligence sensor and then deep cleaning an area all the time. This is just going to be testing the brute strength of its first cleaning pass. Now earlier I did a test run over here and the artificial intelligence was on, and when it would go into a corner, it would see those particles, then it would do a square, and then it would do a square, and then it did another square. It did an okay job with the artificial intelligence on. It still doesn't do the best job in the corner, even with going back around and over. It didn't do, with the artificial intelligence on, it didn't do the best job mopping. It left some. So I'm anxious to see just how a 2-pass does without artificial intelligence. Because while that artificial intelligence is good, it actually has to be a good cleaning robot first. And then we rely on the artificial intelligence to go back and get up bigger messes. So we got a bunch of long hair, a bunch of debris in the corners, and some Cheerios. It was struggling with Cheerios too. Now this new dock LED is, you can turn it on or off in the app. You can have it be like a Christmas tree or something. I'll have to play around with it, but it's, there's a lot going on with this dock, that light bar. So far the dock is relatively quiet. I don't sense anything too out of the ordinary. It's filling the robot up with warm water. I'll be testing that in the advertising versus reality. And I'll do a comparison with the Dyson, with the Roborock Saros 20. I never did approve the Narwhal Flow 1, the first version. And there's hardly, these things are very similar, so we'll see if this gets adjusted at sticker seal of approval. I'm going to use it for 3 months. And from what I can tell, there's no dirt detect sensor in the dock, but it's hard to tell. They didn't tell about it in the ad, and in the settings, there's no Narwhal free remopping. You don't tell it how many times to remop. So I think these robots are going to more and more start completely relying on that front sensor for everything, which I don't know if that's a good thing. Now the dock does do a suction after it undocks. Okay, the Narwhal Flow 2 is going to travel to this room. We're going to clean up this big mess. Now when it flipped that brush backwards, it kicks a bunch of stuff backwards. Same with over here. When it turns the brush backwards, it kicks a bunch over here. So it's doing okay on those Cheerios now. So that was the first pass on the perimeter of the room. Not too bad on the mopping. Left a little bit in the crevice. It's going to do 2 passes on this room. This is the second pass now. So it spins the brush backwards. That's how it cleans the corner. My wall's not perfectly straight, so that's why you get that little dog leg. It still kicks some stuff behind it. I don't think that's the answer. I don't think spinning the brush backwards is the answer. I like that it did the perimeter of the room for the second pass. And again, this is not using the Frio. The Frio, or the AI, uses that sensor on the front, and it would have detected particles and gone back over and forth. But I found that not to be that useful. It's not like it cleaned any better. It's doing a good job of mopping. It left some in the crack there. But it got most of the dirt off of the floor. Yeah, just where it kicks the stuff back is concerning. And again, this is the first cleaning. I haven't had it long. I just wanted to, this is like, I'll test all the artificial intelligence. And again, I don't think there's any remopping. Like if that water is dirtier than normal after it cleans the mop roller, I don't think it goes back and tells the robot to clean the area. A turbicity. I forget what that sensor's called.
Cleaning started.
And this is new. It's called a self-cleaning. It sits in front of the dock and does something. I'm not sure what that is. It turned the brush backwards. The dirty water tank is inaccessible, which I still don't like because of all the mop rollers I've done, I like being able to get to the dirty water tank because they start to stink after a while. Now you don't get an auto empty until the next time it goes to work. So it'll sit there with all that debris in the dust bag. But we will get a mop washing. There's the cleaning pattern. It did see my shoe a bunch. Oh, not there, but it does take a picture. Okay, there's the mop drying. It's very quiet. It's moving the roller or something. Says it's mop drying. Okay, now I don't hear that. So now it's just the fan. It's very quiet. But I have it on the quietest setting. You know, that was the first cleaning. Nothing earth-shattering about it. I did test it with the AI sensor just to see how it works. It was a lot of commotion, a lot of going in squares, and it didn't necessarily clean any better. So I really got to keep an eye on this. Again, this is super expensive right now. $1,500. It's $1,100 on sale. I don't know how long the sale lasts, but $1,500. Ooh, now seeing how they just have not changed very much, especially with the vacuum part and the wheels, like I think it's going to struggle at my house. Like that's why the Narwal Flow 1 couldn't get the sticker seal of approval from me because it couldn't handle my house carpet. My house has pretty standard carpet. So while they seem pretty intense on mopping, it did a great job mopping. There's no doubt about that. Cleaning pattern was a little bit more smoother, but the side brush going backwards just seems odd to me, and it doesn't necessarily do the best job. Why not just have something that extends out into the corner? That seems to be the standard now. So again, if you want to see the robots that I already approve of, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. If you purchase a product off my website, I am an Amazon affiliate. I will earn a small commission from the sale. It's a way of helping support my channel. I've purchased over 200 robot vacuum cleaners with my own money. I'm not sponsored. This is home of the honest review. I want to get you the best robot vacuum cleaner. Right now, that's not a recommend from me. The Dyson's getting really close. I got to take it to my home. I've been having a lot of fun with it. It's a little big. It's got some quirks, but it's working. And it's actually doing a pretty good job. I wish it was a little bit more refined with side brush extend and all that, but at least I feel like it's working. Again, check out my website, justadadapproved.com. That thing is changing big time. It's going to have so much more information on there for you. I can't wait. Now, again, this is what robot would I recommend my mom or my mother-in-law right now? That would be the Mova P10 Pro or the P10 Pro Gen 2. It's clean. It mops better. It lacks a few things. Look at that video. Roborock Curve. Those things are more expensive, not necessarily worth it. I mean, they are good robots. They're just like sometimes 3 to 4 times more expensive. And you don't necessarily get a robot that cleans 4 times as better as a Mova P10 Pro. So again, thanks everybody for watching. Check out the website and more videos coming. I just got the Dreamy X70. They're selling 2 of them. I can only afford 1. Way, way expensive right now. They're like $2,000 or something for that X70, but it looks pretty cool. But again, check out my website and thanks everybody.